back. We are going to be working and checking over the twin motor build. Last time out went 102, and then I called it a day, which, in looking over the RC, I'm glad that I called that rip a day, because look at this. So let me grab a light. Basically what has happened, the bottom screw that holds on my system here has come loose. So I'm going to throw some Loctite into the aluminum because they are backing off, as you see. And I could have totaled this RC again. The other thing I'm going to be doing is we are going to be putting in the drive shaft system. So on this one, it is going to take some work to get this drive shaft in, because I have two motors driven off the spur, and the timing right now is perfect, and I really don't want to mess it up. So I am going to Loctite to these bolts. That's the first thing I'm going to do to get the steering correct, which is pretty upsetting that that they came loose. But it is a custom setup. The top screw I don't believe came loose. It was the bottom screw. So this is the way I transferred it. And I have no Loctite on this. I didn't think it was necessary because there was no heat there, and it was a mistake on my part. And I'm hoping blue will be enough. It should be. Maybe I should apply red, but I'm going to start off with blue, and I'm going to keep an eye on this, because that's awfully scary that that this came loose. So what I do is I put this up through the bottom, if I can find the bottom bolt or the hole, and then I take this and set it on top, and I screw just the top one, which should suck it down. There we go. So it swivels on the ball that's up here, not down there. So this should all stay solid, and this top should do the swiveling. So I'm hoping that fixes that issue, but I am going to keep an eye on it. That's the first time I've had that come loose. I don't know if I didn't tighten it down all the way or something, but that's why we always test rip these things before we send them at 100 miles an hour. Now I'm going to have to be pulling off this top brace again to get the ESCs out of the way, which should clear up the area that I'm going to be working on to get this drive shaft in. Also had a package arrive today, so we're going to go ahead and open this. It's one of the pieces that I was missing for the YouTube infraction after the crash repairs. I still am waiting for one more package, but here we go. The lower control arms, which I've been waiting for. As you see, there's no pins, no hardware, no set screws, nothing with ARMA. So it's the front lower suspension arms, and there's the part number, AR330503. So we now have these, And we're just waiting on shocks, and then I can get that one back on the road. So first thing I'm going to do is get the batteries out of here because I don't need the batteries in here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to unplug the motors. You guys have seen me do this a ton of times. My arm is probably in the way. I fold them back. Then I'm going to go ahead, take the ESCs, unplug them. There's one. There's two. Take my antenna, take the cap off the top, pull my antenna wire through so that I'm not damaging that. Put my cap on so I don't lose it. And then we're going to unscrew the top bolts. And that'll allow me to lift out the ESCs. I'm thinking of adding shims onto each side of this back here, because I noticed with this aftermarket brace that this is actually skinnier than this piece here. And what happens is you tighten it to get the snugness, but you can actually strip it through the other side. So there's our ESCs out of the way, which in turn opens up the drive shaft. So now we're going to pop off this top plate and see about slipping out the spur without moving the gears. I really made this service friendly. When it comes to working on this RC, I'm going to kick on some more light. When it comes to working on this RC, you have to think about a custom build like this on servicing the parts. And I've redefined this several times, which one of them was getting rid of the on and off switches. So I'm definitely going to have to add the anti-spark. So there we go. Making sure there's no damage to this bearing race area. So there's that. And then hoping that I'll be able to lift this out, because I have one motor on each side. It wants to squeeze the gear in the center. So there we go. Got that out. God, that front drive shaft's going to be tough to chalk up or get back in. But I'm going to leave that down at the base. I'm going to remove, look at the flex. This is the first time I've actually seen flex almost all the way around the drive shaft. There's just a little area that's black on both sides. And even that is showing flex. God, this power of this motor, even in the center. So 1, 2, 3 lines on this one. This thing definitely was hitting pretty hard. Oh yeah. And the aluminum brace is showing it. It is literally showing where it hit there and where it hit there. That's amazing. All right, we're back. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this factory spool taken apart. Ton of Loctite in that one too. And the bearing. And my gear, so that it at least is a little snugger, if that's even a word. So from my understanding and my experience on the last one, I am going to make sure this rear diff cup is all the way up. which it's going to get me all the way up. Of course, the same issue. The bearings are just too tight. So I am going to have to shave that spacer in the front again. Right now I'm going to take this spacer that he had built, try to give it a little sanding. That spacer gets awfully thin. That's looking pretty good right there. And then O-ring. And then I'm almost guaranteed I'm going to have to shave this diff cup. Oh, I hate that. Bearing's got a dirt or something in it. Oh, I gotta turn the shaft with these motors. Wow, I am gonna try something new. The small motor mount, the one that's normally plastic, we had to grind that one. But since this is the correct way, and my motor mount here might have enough room is what I'm thinking, because that's the way it's feeling. It's literally feeling like this twin motor mount gave me enough room to put this in here. So there we go. I might have to take the whole motor mount deal out. I am going to red Loctite this stuff, but we'll be right back with you guys. Alright, so now time to remove the fan wiring. There's one. There's two. And my motor assembly can come out. Now I'm going to turn you guys to where you can see what I'm doing. Well, there we go, guys. Drive shaft is in, modification is done. Went ahead and took that secondary fan that's in there, bent it down to clear it. Drive shaft looks like it's moving smooth. looks like we still have play in our pinion. Which is a good thing. Steering's working. I am going to have to work on something for this corner, for this steering. It's awfully close to that fan, which means if I hit a hard bump or something like that, it could shift and lock me out from going left steer, which could be dangerous. And then, like I said before, I will keep an eye on this bottom nut that I Loctite. And that's it. So everything seems to be back working, and there we go. The twin motor infraction is now got the drive shaft upgrade, and all I got left to do is put on a new front splitter, and we are going to go out and test this thing tomorrow. So after looking at this drive shaft and seeing that the marks were almost all the way around, I think it's from the power, because I've never seen this out of all the drive shafts that I have. You usually only get the marks on one side of the drive shaft. You don't get it where it's almost completely around the drive shaft. That's how much this one was flexing. But the funny part is that it's still round. They're always still round. They always tend to go back and keep their shape. They just disform and wobble so bad that they hit the metal brace. And my rear brace actually showed that. So like, comment, subscribe. Hopefully you like this build. The drive shaft with the aftermarket motor mount. I didn't have to grind the motor mount at all. I did have to take the shaft and shorten it just a little bit. It was the same problem I had on the other one. The drive shaft is so long that it literally wedges in front and rear drive shaft, which I fought and made it work on the other one. I wasn't going to fight on this one. I ground a little bit inside the cup area just to make sure the rear drive shaft had very little movement in and out, I guess you would say, of the rear cup. So both drive shafts have very little play now, in and out, because this shaft that he builds is longer. So there we go, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.